Now I've got two tips for you on the psychology side of preparing for the marathon. The first tip is a little trick that I use myself and I use with a lot of the people that I work with, and it's thinking back to a time whenever you performed really well. Now I'm sure that you're all aware that you have some runs that you go out on and everything feels absolutely great. You feel ready for it, you're up for it, you start running and everything feels easy. Other days you have some days where it's not quite so good. And you may well have done half marathons or longer runs where you have turned up and it's been, as I say, it's all been really easy and it's all worked out really well. We call it my best day. It's a day whenever everything just seems easy and you perform well. Now what I would say is that the more of these that you can have, the better. You may have 2 or 3 examples. And in the couple of days before the marathon, and definitely on the day of the marathon, just spend 5 minutes or so, just sit back in a quiet place, close your eyes, and just think about what it was like to be you on that day. So think about what you were seeing, what you were hearing, what you were feeling, how it was to be you on that day. And when you're having all these positive thoughts, it will make you feel positive and it'll give you that boost. The other thing is, if you're thinking about positive things, those little negative thoughts have got no room to come into your head, so you're almost pushing them away. That's my first thing, is to recreate your best day. The second thing is to establish a pre-marathon routine. Now, what you can do is whenever you're training, you may do the same things. Now, it goes down to little things like packing your bag, preparing your meal, having your meal, spending a little bit of time on your own preparing for the training run or for the race. Just a series of steps that get you into the right frame of mind for the actual performance. So I think you need to think about, what am I going to do on the day, and actually go through it in your head. So on the day, you're getting up, you're laying your clothes on the bed, you're preparing your food, you're putting your tracksuit on, and you know exactly what's going to happen on the day. It's what we call a pre-performance routine. So these are things that you can practice before the marathon, and then so whenever it comes to the marathon, you're thinking about these positive things and putting yourself in a positive frame of mind.